In the 2004 Parkette Invitational, Nicole Harris shined as the all-around champion and helped her squad win the team title. This year, Parkette has a new crop of athletes on the rise, trying to make it to the elite list of gymnastics. Teams from across the country have brought their top athletes to test their skills at Pennsylvania's top gymnastics event. The 2005 Parkette Invitational is next. CN8 Sports takes you on the road again. Today, it's the 2005 Parkette Invitational from the Parkette Training Center for Gymnastics in Allentown, Pennsylvania, about 30 miles north of Philadelphia. Hello, everyone. Lou Tilley back with you with Olympic champion and American's great gymnast, Bart Connor. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Lou.
And here we are, and Olympics have just passed, Bart, and I guess in a way the cycle begins again. We'll see some of the young up-and-comers today.
And you know, we look back to the Olympics in Athens, and it was a fantastic success for the American team, for both the women and the men, winning the silver medals in team competition. And then, of course, Carly Patterson winning the gold medal in the women's all-around, and Paul Hamm winning the gold medal for the men in the all-around. So it was a great success, but you're right, this is the start of a new quadrennium, and so we're looking at some new faces on the national scene here today.
And it's a fairly small window of opportunity for these young athletes, particularly for the women, and that's who we'll be watching tonight. And some of the athletes to watch, Bart, are?
Well, we have several stars here. There'll be 48 athletes competing in several different age group categories tonight. We'll be watching this Morgan Evans. She's 14 years old, from the junior international team, and she's already had some international success, as you can see. We'll also be seeing her teammate from Excalibur Gymnastics, Marcia Newby. She's 16. She's a member of the senior international team, and she was one of the stars of the competition you'll remember from last year when we were here at the Parkette Invitational. Now, one of the big powerhouses on the international scene is this young lady. This is Alicia Sacramone. Now, she is a World Cup gold medalist, and in fact, just recently, she beat the reigning Olympic champion in the vault in a World Cup event in Europe. So she's a powerful, exciting gymnast. She's had some injuries, so she'll be competing in just 3 events tonight, but she'll be fun to watch. She's from Brescians Gymnastics, which is up near Boston. I'm
smiling, Bart, because I had a chance to meet her a couple of weeks ago when we broadcast that event up there from Tufts University, and she has great personality, not only on the mat, but in the booth as well, and it shows in her performance level. We really look forward to seeing her tonight. What qualifications does Bart have to call women's gymnastics? Well, your buddy at home knows something about it.
Yeah, I guess you're always giving me a hard time about it, but my wife is Nadia Comaneci. She was a pretty good gymnast, and so I've learned a little bit about women's gymnastics.
So you get the best of both worlds from Bart Connor, and he'll be calling the action for you along with me. We'll be right back from Allentown, the Parkette's Invitational. We'll be right back. Sports proud to bring you our continuing coverage of gymnastics along the CNA corridor in the Mid-Atlantic. The Parkette Training Center is located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, about 35 miles north of the city of Philadelphia. And we'll be watching some of the young gymnasts on the rise as another cycle of potential Olympians starts to come out. And here are the events that we'll be covering: the vault, the bars, the beam, the floor. We will rotate between 4 cycles in all as we watch the young athletes. Lou Tilley along with Bart Connor.
All right, Lou, well, first up on the floor exercise will be Sherry Yang from Capital Gymnastics. She's a level 10 athlete. We'll be seeing competition today in several different age groups as well as different levels. In USA Gymnastics, there's level 1 through level 10, and then elite levels above that. Many of the athletes here tonight are level 10, and several are also elite, which means they're hoping for national team spots eventually this year. Allowed to spot, but in a meet like this, for safety reasons and considering she's doing such a difficult skill, it's allowed as long as he doesn't spot her. Well, the judges are looking for those acrobatic movements that you've seen. Here's another one, a front somersault.
She's not much wider than the beam.
They also need to see a leap like that and a dance dance series, as she showed, or a dance and acrobatic combination. A full turn like that is a requirement. These are all things called special requirements that the judges need to see from the gymnast. Difficult side leap. And a very nice tuck double somersault at the end of that exercise. Boy, she packed it full of difficulty. You notice she didn't quite have the fluid movement that you'll see from some of the more mature gymnasts, but boy, can she do the tricks. She can polish up her form and execution, but you can't teach acrobatics like that.
And Yazhal, 9.425 on the beam. Now we go to the bars, the uneven parallel bars for the women. Davie Wilson for the Parkettes.
For the younger gymnasts, generally the uneven bars is one of the slowest events to develop, partly because of the physical strength that it takes. You have to grow into it for many of these young ladies. Oh, that was a nice double layout somersault for the dismount. The gymnasts on the bars have to show changes 2 times, changing from one bar to the next. A flight element or a release move, and then the dismount is important. And of course, this is a double layout, and a little sloppy. Her toes were kind of hooked, but good landing.
And we move to the vault. Remember, all 4 of these events going on at the same time, as Bart has called it himself many times, a 4-ring circus. This is Julie Cotter.
Very difficult vault. That's a Yurchenko-style vault with a double twist. Well done. Now, in the junior Olympic rules, a vault like that is a start value of a perfect 10. Wow. So that is very nice technique. Good push off the horse. She had to pike it down just a little bit, but boy, nice control on the landing.
Now, at the end of this level, you get 2 runs at it and the better score of the 2.
That's right, because we're competing in an all-around competition here, as well as an individual apparatus competition. So those gymnasts who hope to contend for an individual title have to do 2 vaults. And she did not quite as well on the second attempt. She twisted a little early off this vaulting table, which caused her to go to the side and made for an unstable landing. Got a little anxious to push off the table and twist early.
Sure enough, she finishes with a 9.7.
Now on floor exercise for Capital Gymnastics.
Also from the Capital Gymnastics team from Burke, Virginia, as Bart mentioned, this is Olivia Courtney. Olivia competing in the youngest of the 5 age categories in the meet tonight. Hers is the 11 to 13 group.
Very springy opening tumbling combination of front somersaults. Let's point out some of the things the judges are looking for today. They require the gymnasts, of course, to do tumbling and dance moves. They need a series of acrobatic elements. And as you saw in her opening tumbling pass, an acrobatic series which includes 2 saltos, as she showed. Throughout the exercise, they have to do 3 different types of saltos: a front salto, perhaps a twisting salto, a back salto. Some type of turn that fulfills a B-level difficulty requirement. There was a very nice back twisting tumbling pass, 2.5 twister.
Boy, for such a young competitor, she has great explosiveness, great elevation.
And this is really the fun thing that we like to see. You know, this new generation starting to make their way through the national ranks. She is a level 10 gymnast, but certainly hopes to make those elite ranks. There's junior elite, and there's senior elite. There's different levels within the elite rank. So there are several different divisions in U.S. gymnastics, but that was a very powerful pike double somersault, effortless at the end.
Nice landing, huh?
Great potential there. And
at the tail end of a 90-second program, and that's the time limit anyway. Very nice job, Olivia Courtney, and we'll take a look at some of the highlights.
Great potential here for Olivia. There's that 2.5 twister. Just a little sloppy in the air, but you can see she has great technique. How about this? At the end, when you're tired, she just pops a very comfortable pike double somersault.
That's good to be young. And more of this up-and-coming crop of potential champion athletics when we come back from the Parkettes in Allentown on CN8.
Gymnastics is one of the most difficult sports in the world. The last thing you want to worry about is what you're wearing. So do what I did. Choose GK Elite Sportswear to look your best and perform your best. For as long as I can remember, GK has been the choice of champions. Choose GK every day for your workout or competitive apparel, and you will feel like a champion too.
More people are watching CNN.
Invitational, the 31st annual, the Parkette Training Center here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, one of the real hotbeds of gymnastics in America, in fact. And here's Ricky LeBergen,
Now on floor exercise for Capital Gymnastics
in the 17-year-old and up age division, for which they're competing for medals here as well.
Choosing right away, you can see the maturity. She's a little bit older than Olivia, and you can see a little bit more polish in her dance elements and presentation.
Wow.
And a nice, powerful 2.5 twister, the same skill we saw from Olivia.
You get older, I assume the legs get stronger? Do the leaps get higher?
It depends on the athlete and their physical fitness level, but she's very springy as well. And, you know, you refine your technique when you get a little bit older, and hopefully you learn to polish a little bit more. You may notice that she has very nice extension in the legs, beautiful toe point.
Toe point, a ballet term?
Absolutely, and it's something that really takes some time to really get comfortable. Most of the athletes are worried about just getting through their skills, but when you get a little bit older, look at that beautiful form.
Marvelous, yeah.
Excellent leg extension, quickness off the floor. Here's one of those turn requirements, a double turn. He's got one more tumbling pass to go. Most gymnasts use 3, some use 4 tumbling passes. Very nice combination, front full to a tuck front. She'll be happy with that.
Yeah, and a lot of maneuvering in the little tight corner of the...
A rising star in the gymnastics world when she decided to pursue other sports.
Well, I had already accomplished my goals of being elite and making the national team, so I just decided I'd end on a good note and try and go back to school and see how that went.
Geraldine decided to try her hand at diving and soccer. Her father, John, was one of her soccer coaches.
He was laid back. He just knows I just wanted to have fun, so he just wasn't like pushy. He just knew I just wanted to try it out, and he used to be a soccer coach on a soccer team, so he knew what he was talking about.
Geraldine now had the time she wanted to spend with her family. For about 6 months, she rebuilt relationships, especially with her dad.
Well, when I did soccer, he coached the soccer team, so we got to just hang out then, and he just coached me, and we had a good time.
December the 14th, 2003, was supposed to be a birthday celebration for her father, but an aneurysm claimed his life on that day. There was no warning, and his death was devastating to Geraldine and her family. After grieving her loss, Geraldine decided to return to the place that was her second home for a few years, the Parkette Training Center.
I think that it was more like a self-comfort zone, and I knew that I was like comfortable here, and I didn't have to worry about what people were thinking, and I could just get away without thinking about my dad and stuff, just so it wasn't so hard on me. So I just came back and pushed into it.
Geraldine's return to gymnastics wasn't easy and required her to recommit herself to the demands of the sport.
I just pushed myself because I know me, just to encourage me and just make me keep on going and don't give up and just try your hardest no matter what happens.
And here she is on her first vault.
Oh my goodness, did she nail that, Lou? Even you can see it in her face. By the way, you're Lou. They also call her Lou.
Is that right?
That's her nickname. Yeah, she's 15 years old, the senior international elite from Horsham, PA. And boy, she has great technique on this vault. Take a look at the push, very high. And what form. And she just, I think she surprised herself at how easily she stuck that landing.
She has, as you heard from the piece, Bart, embraced gymnastics and the Parkette as her family now, and back in a comfort zone as she recovers from the loss of her father.
She'll do her second vault. Another one. This one slightly over-rotated, but you mentioned the family atmosphere. When I first started coming here to the Parkettes more than 20 years ago, I really sensed that. And so this is a really nurturing, positive environment. You see Bill Strauss giving her a hug there. So this is the best place for her to be at this time. This one was just a little over-juiced, but boy, she has good technique. This is the Yurchenko where you do the back handspring on with a 1.5 twister, and at this level, that's scored from a 10-0 start value.
Great camera angle there. You could see the tremendous elevation that she got on that rundown on the vault. Nice crowd here in the Parkette's gymnasium, and as you guessed, Bart, the first of her 2 vaults, an excellent score, puts her into first place in all categories. 9-7, 7-5. This is 16-year-old Alexandra Brockway. Loves the vault. Very powerful performer from the Parkettes.
She'll be doing a Yurchenko with a full twist in the laid-out position. Oh, how about that landing?
Looked like a diver coming off the board at the end.
Even she's laughing about it. Actually, they're vaulting onto what is called a resi pit, which is about a 1 meter deep foam pit. And it's a very forgiving surface. It's great for training. Normally in competition, you land on a more firm surface, but because it is forgiving, it also springs you back up in the air and makes it difficult to stick.
Save some ankles, though.
Absolutely, it's smart, especially early in the season. You want to save those ankles as long as you can because they take a lot of abuse in gymnastics, those short landings and vault and tumbling.
Second vault for Brockway.
Now this vault is scored from a 10-0 start value. All right, that was a little bit better on the landing.
Pretty close.
Interesting difference with the Olympic rules. In the Olympic rules, that vault is worth a 9.4 max. Here, it's worth a 10.
9.625, a good score for Alexandra Brockway. We'll be right back from Allentown. The Parkette's Invitational. We'll be right back. And we continue. The athletes move to the next series of competition, so it's rotation 2. And back to the floor exercise. And the Hills School competing, Brittany Morgan, competitor number 60 and aged 16.
Hills program, of course, Kelly Hill has run that program for many years and produced many national team members and Olympians. Brittany is 16 years old from Frederick, Maryland. She's a level 10, and she was second in the all-around at the 2004 Junior Olympic Nationals. So she has already had success on a national level. Nice opening tumbling run. That's an Arabian double front somersault and a solid landing.
10 different teams are competing, most of them along the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic coverage area of CNA. We've seen some Olympians come out of this school and out of this meet just a year ago, Bart.
As a matter of fact, yes, Courtney Kupets was performing last year in this competition. Was 2-time Olympian. champion, and Elise Ray, member of the Olympic team in 2000.
Saw her competing for Michigan last year in the NCAAs.
Strong double back at the end. Like I said, this is early in the season, but she has plenty of endurance to do a good. What's tricky about what they call a blind landing. She's going to do a half-in double front. You really don't see the floor until you're just about standing on it. She judged it extremely well. Last tumbling pass, when you're a little bit tired, she had plenty of juice to finish that.
Yeah, that's 90 seconds of flat-out exertion. In the second round of events, this is our first look at Emma Hoffman from the Rebound Club, one of the younger competitors now on the vault.
Rebound is in Cliffwood, New Jersey. Her coach, Diane Farrell, is the owner and the head coach of that program. Not a bad little vault. That's a Yurchenko style of vault. She's a tiny little girl, so pretty well done. It's in the piked position. That comes from a 9.5 start value in the Junior Olympic rules. As I mentioned, the rules at these Junior Olympic competitions are slightly different than the elite rules and the Olympic level rules.
There's that speed factor we were talking about too. She's young, short, can't generate a lot of pure speed down the runway.
She'll mature into that strength, but what's impressive is her technique, considering she's a little underpowered. The mechanics are still real good.
She's one of the younger competitors, 8.75 according to the judges.
Good for her. Nice form.
To the bars, Julie Cotter, who performs for the Parkettes in the 14-year-old division. Her turn on the bars.
All right, nice combination there. Toe on, full turn to what they call a reverse hack, the release move. A little bit sloppy on the transition. You need to see the gymnast transition between the bars twice. And they need to show a couple of release moves and a very nice dismount. That's a double back tucked position with a full twist.
Here's what you were talking about right here.
Yeah, here's a toe on, full pirouette. Little sloppy, but then she manages to pop a pretty nice reverse hack and a move called a pack salto, which is a transition to the low bar. That was sloppy as well, but I admire her going for some difficult combinations. Nice going.
Now on floor exercise.
8.9 for Julie Cotter on the bars. Back to the runway and getting ready to tackle the vault is Darlene Hill from Wilmore.
Wow, that was nice. Nice combination of power, technique, good speed. This is the Yurchenko vault. This is from a 10.0 start value. Very good mechanics in the twisting, laid out somersault. She pulls it around very nicely to finish the rotation.
Mark is left for the fourth star. On floor exercise.
Darlene Hill in her second time down the ramp, down the runway, on the vault.
Even better. Now, not as good of a landing, but I really like the mechanics off the horse. Good push. And what's impressive to me is after she pushes off the horse, watch how she keeps pulling her chest around to finish that very high and set the landing in nicely.
Also from the Hill School, Brittany Ramsey. She's 14 years old.
Now on floor exercise for Hills Gymnastics.
And gets ready to compete in the floor exercise.
Before the meet, I heard Kelly Hill call her Rambo.
Wow.
Her last name is Ramsey, but she calls her Rambo. She's a junior international elite.
So she'll take no prisoners in the competition.
Very nice. Same tumbling pass that we saw from Brittany Morgan. A little bit higher. Beautiful pike double back. Second tumbling pass.
You see some of the other competitors pop into your picture every once in a while. I heard you refer to this as a 4-ring circus on your ESPN telecast of the Super 6. down in the Southeast. There really is. There's action going on all around us at all times.
Whip, whip, 2 back handsprings to a 2.5 twister. Great combination. It's one of those tumbling passes where you actually need to do 2 different types of saltos in the same tumbling pass, and she just ripped it nicely.
Some good talent here at age 14. Just about prime time for a shot at the Olympics 4 years from now for women who are 14 or so now.
Yes, in fact, many athletes sort of gauge their Olympic trial or tribulations based on when they were born. You don't have anything to do about that, but what do? You know, you have to say, well, I'm good for 2008, but I'm maybe a little too young for 2004, and that's just the way it works out. The irony of it is not only do you have to be a great gymnast, but you have to be great on the right year in order to make the Olympic team.
Brittany Ramsey, and a look back at her performance.
Good solid pike double back in the second tumbling pass. I like this combination, this whip, whip,
Wow.
2 back handsprings.
Wow.
And then she pops a 2.5 twister at the end of that.
She almost seemed to accelerate through the series. Geraldine Stack-Eden, her second competitive event of the night. Now on the bars.
Already a 9.775 on the vault, so she's off to a great start.
Back with the Parkettes. We talked about it earlier. Nicknamed Lou after Mary Lou Retton, of course.
A lot of these young ladies don't know who Mary Lou Retton was. It's been 20 years since those Olympics.
Come on.
This is a great routine. There's a lot of difficult combinations in there. She's relieved to get through it. I like her technique. This is a 1.5, reverse hacked, and a transition called a pack salto, a laid out somersault to the low bar. Toe on full pirouette, finishing very closely to the handstand, to a half-in double front. That's a tough combination at the end. Great.
And you see her score, 9.575. She's off to a great start after 2 events in this meet. Sherry Yang competes for the Capital Club here, 15 years old, and this is on the vault.
All right, there's the Yurchenko style in the piked position. Once again, that's a 9.5 start value.
Yurchenko style?
Yurchenko is a famous gymnast from the former Soviet Union. Natalia Yurchenko, who invented this vault in the early 80s and really revolutionized the style of vaulting. She was the first gymnast to go backwards over the horse.
And this is when they were actually going over the horse before the vaulting table took its place in gymnastics. And I guess you can gamble a little more, be a little more creative now with the vaulting table?
Absolutely. It's much safer. It's a large surface. It's ramped. It's got a little bit of a springiness to it, so it's safer. It's better for the athletes, and it's another advance in the equipment that has allowed the gymnast to do more complicated skills. You don't have to be quite as accurate on the reach to the vaulting table as you did on the vaulting horse.
8.95 for Sherry Yang, according to the judges on the vault. And now we go to Olivia Courtney, her first vault.
Whoa.
Wow.
Now that was interesting. She did also the Yurchenko style, but she came on very high, and you'll notice she barely gets her hands onto the vaulting table, and yet she manages to push off and do a tuck somersault. Watch here, she comes on very high. She's right on her fingertips.
I see. It's a good thing that the vaulting table is that wide. If that was the old horse, it could have been disastrous.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there have been some serious injuries with that Yurchenko style of vaulting on the old vaulting horse, and that is the reason for this introduction to the new vaulting table, which has been in the international scene for about 3 years now.
Olivia Courtney's second vault.
That's a little bit better, and she added another half twist on that, so good for her.
A lot of power for this young competitor at age 12.
She's really talented because she didn't necessarily have the great mechanics, but she's talented enough to pull it around.
And a 9.4 on that second ball. In the 17 and older category, this is Cassandra Martin from the Hill School. Follow up on that, Bart. The point you're making about timing, there's nothing you can do about it. The Olympics every 4 years as opposed to the Worlds or the national competition. You wonder how many gymnasts miss their window just by happenstance.
Many do. In fact, one of the best gymnasts in the country last year, Nastia Liukin, was just too young to go to the Olympics in Athens.
By age limitation.
You have to turn 16 during the calendar year of that world or Olympic competition to be age eligible at the senior level.
Which wasn't always the case. How old was Nadia at her first?
She was 14 and a half
yeah.
at her first Olympics, and that time you could be 15 during the calendar year and still be eligible to compete in the Olympics. Interesting thing about Cassandra, she's accepted a full ride to the University of Alabama to compete in college next year.
And you say that's a real hotbed of women's gymnastics right now.
I was down there last week to see the Alabama-LSU dual meet. There were 10,200 raving fans. College gymnastics is really on the rise.
Yeah, I saw I mentioned the telecast of the Super 6 was very exciting. The crowd was really worked up. Very colorful.
Cassandra was first at the 2003 Level 10 Junior Nationals and third in 2004. You can see she has really all the qualities of a great gymnast. Beautiful extension and high leaps, wonderful execution, and yet she also has power in her tumbling.
Cassandra Martin from Hill School and heading on to join the Tide at Alabama a year from now. Roll them.
Lay out front full. Just a little check on that landing. And she finished up with a clean 1.5 twister. Not the most difficulty, but at this level, she can still get a decent score with a routine like that. The rules here are slightly different than the Olympic rules.
And it's a 9.40 for Cassandra Martin. And Corey Hartung will know a score to beat because she's competing in the same age category out of Hill School, 17 and older. This is Corey Hartung from Hill School.
She's from Irwin, Pennsylvania. She accepted a scholarship at the University of Florida, so she'll be headed to Gainesville next year. They also have a fantastic program. Great programs down in the SEC. Beautiful triple twist for her opening tumbling pass.
University of Georgia, perennial contender for the national title. Penn State, of course, locally, New Hampshire, always in the mix. Women's gymnastics in the collegiate level really in a hot spurt right now.
Years ago, few of the elite and Olympic level gymnasts opted to go to college, but more and more of the best gymnasts in the country are realizing that a full scholarship to a major school like Florida or Stanford or Penn State, not only is it a lot of value to the family, it's a way for these young ladies to extend their gymnastics career in a terrific environment. These college programs are just fantastic.
And ensure some life beyond the mat.
So many people focus on gymnastics and think only of the Olympics, and yet the Olympics is for so few. Out of the nearly 4 million gymnasts in the United States, only 6 make the Olympic team, and yet most of these young ladies have a chance to get their scholarships, educations paid for because of their world-class gymnastics.
Very artistic routine by Corey Hartung from Hill School. It'll be interesting to see how her scores compare with Cassandra Martin.
Handspring layout front with a double twist. Getting a hug from Jen Bundy, who's the assistant coach there.
Rotation 2 continues, and we will continue from the Parkette's Invitational in Allentown, Pennsylvania with Bart Connor. We'll be right back.
Talk Show TV.
Sports is happy to be back in Allentown with the Parkette Invitational 2005. They've been doing it for over 30 years. It's our second year. Bart Connor, the great American gymnast, joins me here in the booth. I'm Lou Tilley, and we go back to the floor exercise. And Katie Hurley from Bestian's Gym outside of Boston.
Now on floor exercise.
Very
for
strong
Bestian
unit.
Gymnastics, Katie Hurley.
Another husband and wife set of coaches.
That's right, Mihai and Silvia Brestian, the Romanian coaches who moved from Romania to Israel for a while, and now they're up in Ashland, Massachusetts. In fact, I called them the other day and wished them happy 25th anniversary.
Wow.
Now, Katie Hurley was in this competition last year. High-scoring event was a vault, 9.375, but she didn't fare very well on the uneven bar, so that dropped her down to 38th place in the vault.
We're talking about some of the changes in the sport, that the mat they're performing on now. And she just stepped out over the line, Mart. That's an automatic deduction. 0.5.
You lose 1/10 of a point when you go out of bounds, and of course there was also a deduction which accompanies the bad technique, which caused the out of bounds area. So usually it's a couple of tenths of a point when you go out.
You make a mistake early in the routine, hard to cover mentally.
Well, this is always an interesting test for the athlete to see if they can recover, and some crumble and some step it up and are perfect the rest of the exercise. So, you know, as a coach, you like to see what kind of athlete you have in that situation. You mentioned the changes in the equipment. The floor exercise mat is extremely springy now. There are 4-inch springs
all through the whole entire floor mat.
I forget how many. There's nearly 2,000 of them or something under there. And then there's a super foam and then carpeting.
It's like a Posturepedic on a grand scale.
It's very springy, and some gymnasts can manage it. Some have a little difficulty. She's had a little trouble on her tumbling passes here. You see that she has one ankle wrap. That could be part of the cause for that. But she did finish with a good front through to a double twist.
Katie Hurley gives us a smile, then talks with Miha about what went wrong and early on in the routine.
She really did. Laid it back a little bit, but it was extremely high, probably higher than she expected, and that's why she just pulled it around a little bit too far. This tumbling pass here,
a little short.
Shorter rotation. So the first one was over-rotated, the second under-rotated, and she managed to put it all together and finish strong with a front through to a double full.
Katie Hurley competing as a 16-year-old with the Brestians club from Ashland, Massachusetts. Casey Overton now on the bars from the Powerful Excalibur Club, 16 years old.
Whew, nice transition.
Katie Hurley, Breston Gymnastics.
Oh, cast a handstand, almost went over. Free hip half, toe on. Those are called toe on, toe off moves. You can tell this is one of her specialties. She's already done 3 of them in this exercise, and a good strong toe on half to a double front.
What'd you think?
I liked it. Jim and Dina Walker, her coaches at her club. Look at this. Very nice. That's a tough dismount at the end.
9.525 for Casey Overton. Competitor number 15 from the Brestians gym, Mingya Zhao. Interesting story, Bart. Her family came over from mainland China. She's actually would love to be able to compete for the national junior team, but still doesn't have full citizenship. We found this out when we covered their meet just a few weeks ago in the Boston area.
She competed in this event last year, had a 9.25 on the floor. See if she can improve a little bit this year.
Bart, are these young gymnasts normally come from the immediate areas of these various schools that we see here?
Well, certainly there are so many quality gymnastics programs up here in the Northeast that many of the kids can stay pretty close to home. Oh, isn't that nice? Beautiful Arabian double front.
She uses occasionally, you'll use the sting mat, I think they call it, for a little extra padding.
That's right, and they're allowed to use that in competitions like this. It's just a safety factor. 2.5 twist to a punch front somersault, one of those combination tumbling passes that they are required to perform. Well, she's really springy.
Yeah, she was one of the outstanding performers at the Brestians meet.
As I was saying years ago, that gymnasts had to travel to maybe one of 5 or 6 gyms, and that was about it. There was the Scats in California, the Parkettes here in Allentown, maybe up in Connecticut, gym in Houston. But now there are, as you see, there are 10 really outstanding clubs here, all with terrific coaches, great facilities. And the sport has grown so much. As I mentioned earlier, nearly 4 million kids in the United States. When you count every kid who does even the once a week preschool gymnastics up through the elite level, there are an enormous number of kids excited about the sport. And therefore, there are about nearly 3,000 gymnastics clubs in the United States.
I had no idea.
Really incredible. Boy, well, that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. Ming Ya.
Gymnastics on floor exercise.
Look at that face. He's like, yeah, that was no big deal. Wow. After her opening tumbling run, she came back with this. This was a little bit sloppy. She's not as good of a twister as she is a flipper. She was a little bit
out of line
on that. And then, but you can see here, she has no problem flipping a pike double back and landing nearly straight up and down at the end.
Her balance on landings were terrific, and her score is a solid 9.5 for Mingya Zhao. We continue in the second rotation now. Ricky Lebegern on the vault.
Good form.
She's competing in the age 17 and up category for the Capital Club.
We've seen a lot of these today. Her form is very good. She points her toes throughout and really knows how to spot the landing. Nice technique.
Again, in this competition, you get 2 vaults, and the judges will score them both, and you choose the better of the 2 for your overall score. Here's Ricky's second run.
All right, and that time she added an additional half twist. Little trouble on the landing, but a more difficult vault. All right, she got a little anxious to turn off the horse, didn't have the best mechanics, but finished it nicely.
9.425, rather 9.45. This is a treat now. Alicia Sacramone, who's a very, very impressive young gymnast.
Now on floor exercise for Brestian, Alicia Sacramone.
She's had great success in international competition, and one of the stars of the star-filled Boston athletics scene, Alicia Sacramone.
Her 2 favorite events, the vault and the floor, and you'll see why floor is one of her favorite. Watch this. Whoa. Very high, full twisting double back somersault with great form. Beautiful turn. Nice technique in that triple twist. There's one of those leap series where you take off of 1 foot and do a combination like that to fulfill the requirements.
It's a nice combination of polish and raw athleticism.
All right, 2.5 twister to a layout front. She's just fun to watch.
Yeah,
just
great energy.
Explosiveness off the floor. She has the whole package, the tumbling, the execution and technique, nice choreography. And here's her 4th powerful tumbling pass. Oh, misjudged the landing a little, but what a talent to save that landing. That's just a gift. That's something you can't teach.
You've heard the name before, Just Miss, this past go-around at Athens. And here's a look at Alicia Sacramone.
Second rotation. Athletes may now advance to their third
Full twisting double back somersault tucked Beautiful form. Here's the twisting combination pass. 2.5 twister to a laid out front. And this is just sheer genius because she was a little shorter rotation. Ooh. Most kids would have put their hands down, but she has the strength and the composure to handle that landing.
And she has the energy to match. As we mentioned up at Brescian, she was unable to compete because of some injuries. It's good to have her competing here at Parkette. Not thrilled with her performance, but we'll let you know how she did. But right now we'll take a break from Allentown and the Parkette Invitational. Rotation 3. We move on to the next exercise right after this. Welcome back to Allentown, Pennsylvania. CN8 Sports brings you the up-and-coming gymnastic stars of tomorrow. Today, the 2005 Parkette Invitational. Lou Tilley with Olympic great Bart Connor back with us here on CN8. And back to the floor exercise in the third rotation of the event. And this is Caitlin Borman from the host team, Parkette's.
Parkette's actually has two teams competing here, a Parkette's A team and a B team. This is the B team group that we'll be seeing now.
Minus one of their stars, Tia Orlando, who's sitting with us in the booth, helping us tonight. South Philadelphia native who now lives in the Allentown area.
Beautiful pike double somersault. Caitlin's new to the Parkettes. She is one of those athletes that change programs. It happens occasionally.
Different coaches, different techniques.
Yeah, different philosophies and lots of reasons often why kids move to new clubs. Parkette's has a fantastic history of placing literally, more than 100 kids on full scholarships around the country in college programs.
Wow.
So
Tia, we mentioned, from South Philadelphia, originally came up here about 40 miles. Several athletes within a 50-mile radius. Part of Parkette's program.
All right, not a bad routine for Caitlin Borman. Good power on that pike double back somersault. You notice she does a round off to a back handspring into it. Her back handspring is very effective. It's powerful. Front tumbling, layout front, layout front. Difficult combination to do with good form. And she was just a little tired there with her last tumbling pass at double full.
Here she is again now, Min Yao from Brestians on the vault.
She's having a pretty good little day here. Well, isn't that great?
Oh.
I really like her technique on this. You can see she's barely taller than the whole vaulting table. But watch her explosion off the horse when she gets onto the vaulting table, I should say. Very good push, which allows her to get high and set up that layout with a full twist. That was great.
Everything she does athletically seems so effortless.
Mm-hmm.
You see Alicia Sacramone down there, her teammate. About 4 years, 5 years ahead in development. Boy, there's a contrast in bodies that you can see there.
All right, little one. She's a member of the... Oh, she went for a double twister. Well, good for her.
Yeah.
Now, that's a little bit over her head, but after landing a good full twister, she was justified in going for it.
And the first vault got her a 9.575 score. We go over to the bars as we continue with the four-ring circus that is gymnastics, and it's Olivia Courtney again from the Capitol Club, competing in the same group as Ming Yao.
The 11 to 13-year age group in the all-around standings. Mingya Zhao of Breaston's American Gymnastics with an 18.925 combined total.
All right, that's called a gingle. It's a back flip with a half twist and regrasp. Shoot half transition to the low bar. A little shaky there.
Melissa Cream, Arena Gymnastics.
And a nice dismount.
Yeah, great. From a full over to a full twisting double, and she gets a little hug there from Tatiana Perovskaya, her coach. Victor Vetrov, their coaches at Capital in Burke, Virginia. Well, this is great. Very high, and she finishes it easily. She could probably do that laid out one day.
Judges award her a score of 9.075. And quickly back to the vault, and at the head of the runway, this is Brittany Ramsey, 14-year-old who has a lot of potential.
There's a great looking vault. She put it all together. Powerful run. See a hug there from Kelly Hill. This is great. Good push off, very high. Just piked down a little bit, but that's a double twisting. That, of course, is a 10-0 start value at this level.
And I guess after a good or fairly successful first vault, then you can take a gamble and try to better it on the second run. Maybe toughen up the routine a bit, as we saw a moment ago.
Interestingly enough, at the Olympic level, a vault like that is from a 9-8 start value. At this junior Olympic level, it's worth a 10.0. And that was great. Solid control in the air.
How about Brittany Ramsey? They call her Rambo.
Yeah, there's very little I can say critical about that vault.
Oh, and good scores.
Body position and everything.
Here's the score. 9.7. One of the young up-and-comers, really young, in the 11 to 13 category, competing for the Parkettes, Davie Wilson on the floor.
She's originally from California, in fact, and she's new to the Parkette program as well. Recently won a competition in Cancun.
That's the one we want to cover next year at this time.
Now, what are we doing in Allentown at the end of January?
Yeah, for the second year in a row, this whole region has just been hammered by a cold snap. Wow. Go ahead, Bart.
As a coach of young athletes, I don't mind when they overdo skills. She overdid that pike double somersault. That's a good thing. You can always rein those kids in. When they undergo for skills, that's when it's scary. So let's see if she continues to overdo her tumbling. Oh, that was right on. Good job.
Bart and his wife, Nadia Komish, have a great school in the Norman, Oklahoma area. Bart Connor Gymnastics. You can look them up on the web. BartConnorGymnastics.com.
I guess it should be called Nadia Comaneci Gymnastics. We probably
Well, in my opinion, yes. If I was your marketing manager.
Yeah. Well, my name was painted on the building before she showed up.
That's true.
Oh, once again, she overdid that tumbling pass, but that's not a bad thing. This is early in the season. And she went for a difficult 2.5 twister at the end of the routine. Good for her.
Davie Wilson from the Parkettes. 12 years old in the 11 to 13 age category. Here she is.
Here's that pike double back somersault. Good takeoff. Very solid off the floor. Quick as she stands up from the back handspring into the pike double. This was just a little shorter rotation, so she had to break form and pull it around, but not a bad exercise for early in the season.
Back to the balance beam now. In the 14-year-old category. That beam's 4 inches across. There's a time limitation. You can just see it on the women's faces. They show so much joy in some of the other events, but here it just appears to be agony.
Nice combination. Back handspring to a tuck back somersault. She's good here. She has solid basics.
Yeah, that was the word I was just going to use. Yeah, she looks very comfortable. Poised.
Most gymnastics experts feel that beam is the make or break it event in gymnastics. It's a real test of their, not only their physical skill, but their mental focus. Can they stay collected doing these difficult skills under this kind of pressure? Back handspring, double back.
Boy, I didn't see much to criticize there.
By a total of 18.75.
I see a lot of potential in this young lady. There's some execution errors, but I have to admit, I admire her guts to go for a difficult routine.
And how did the judges see it? 9.525. Sherry Yang gets ready to perform on the uneven parallel bars, 15-year-old Capital Club.
She had a 9.55 on floor earlier. Nice going. Toe on half turn. Front giant, full pirouette. Thank you, Victor, for getting out of the way. Victor Vetrov, formerly of Gorky, Russia, now living in the States and coaching these fine athletes. Oh, just a little under-rotated.
Short routine for Sherry Yang, 15 years old.
Looked like she just didn't quite get enough tap to set up the rotation on the double somersault.
Judges saw it the way you did, Bart. 8.925 for Sherry. Marcia Newby, one of the more accomplished young athletes here from the Excalibur Club, 16 years old. We've seen her several times now on our CNA coverage of gymnastics in the last couple of years. Look at that start.
Now on floor exercise for arena gymnastics, Kristen Parabedian.
All right, flip-flop layout. In 2004, she was second place in the U.S. Classic. She has had quite a lot of success nationally and even some international experiences. All right. Looks like she's kind of feeling her way through this as well. Triple twist dismount. You don't see those very often. It's difficult to make it all the way around, and she didn't quite make it all the way around. You can see it on her face. This is good stuff. Round off, 2-foot takeoff to a triple twist. Now watch to see if she makes it all the way around. Well, her upper body does, but her lower body doesn't quite complete the twist.
And here are her scores. Marcia Newby, 9.325. Mining for gold, our young stars of tomorrow continue in rotation 3 when we continue from Allentown on CN8 Sports. 2005 crop of stars of tomorrow continue now on CN8 Sports, the Parkette Invitational. Ready to begin her performance on the beam is Casey Overton from the Excalibur Club, also 16 years old.
She's been an elite gymnast since 2002. She has a lot of experience both in the junior and senior levels. 2004 at the U.S. Championship, she was 18th place in the all-around. Beautiful technique on that back handspring layout. You see how difficult it is to make it at the highest level of gymnastics in this country when the top 6 make the Olympic team. And even at that, it's not by scores, it's by a committee. It's a very difficult process to make the highest level. And here she's 18th in the country during an Olympic year. That's how tough it is to make the U.S. Olympic team. There's an unusual dismount. Okay, she's just playing around a little bit there because she can do a more difficult exercise.
Yeah.
She was second place in the competition here last year. Her high score on floor was a 9.7. That's an unusual front with a full dismount. It'll work for this competition.
Score 9.375. The next competitor for the Parkettes is Brittany Harris. Also in the 13-year-old category.
It's pretty tall for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you see so many of the gymnasts doing the same routine. It's almost like a compulsory. They do a pike double somersault for the first tumbling run. The second tumbling pass are 2 layouts connected. And we'll see what she does in her third tumbling pass. I mentioned the rules here are slightly different than the Olympic rules. A little bit easier. The gymnasts, if they fulfill all the requirements on the event, they have a 9.5 start value. Then if they get 0.5 of a point in bonus for extra difficult moves or combinations, they can get up to a 10.0 start value. At the Olympic level, the gymnasts have an 8.8 start value. They need 1.2 bonus elements, which is much more difficult to get close to a 10. And there's her 2.5 twister, the same routine as several of the other gymnasts.
Brittany Harris of Parkette, front floor exercise.
Brittany Harris, one of the youngest of the competitors here with the Parkettes.
Floor exercise is her best event. Layout, good control there. When she gets a little more advanced, she might want to add a twist to one of those. Here's the 2.5 twister, and she laid it back. In other words, she took it back too far on the takeoff instead of standing up a little quicker, and that, of course, led to going out of bounds. But she gets a hug from Robin Netwall, one of the many coaches here at the Parkette's program. There's John Holman, also coached here for many years.
On a great run so far. Now in the third rotation, here's Geraldine Stack Eaton again. Lou, all the girls call her, and everyone in the gymnastics world.
Very nice leap series. Oh, isn't that something?
Wow.
Back handspring with a full, and she just nailed it. She is having a great day.
That was pretty.
She and her mother drive an hour each way for her to do gymnastics. They choose to live back at home, not move here to Allentown. Her mom told me that that seems to be the smart move for their family. Good control there. She was a little bit off, but she finessed the landing. A less experienced gymnast might have fallen off, but she was able to patch it together. Oh, that's just
very nice.
Great exercise.
I think the judges will score this pretty well, but let's go back and look at that move I noted earlier.
That's the back handspring to a full, and you can't do it any better than that. That's great. The back handsprings to a double back somersault. High level of difficulty.
Coach Lovett, you see in the background. Did the judges? Oh, you bet. 9.75 for Geraldine Stack Eaton. Back to the 16-year-old category, and on the balance beam now is Alexandra Brockway, one of the favorites among her fellow teammates on the Parkettes.
Another nice combination there. Split leap to a tuck jump full turn. All right, aerial front walkover. There's a real fluid movement to her performance. Oh, wow. Standing Arabian. That's a half turn to a front flip. That's so difficult to land on the beam. And a standing tuck front, normally you see them run into it.
Right.
What power she has.
You can hear her teammates as she gets ready for a dismount.
Yeah, they know she's got a good routine going here. Double back. Gonna get a good score. Boy, she almost missed that left foot and managed to
I don't know how she stayed
control
up.
it. Only gave up a couple of tenths in deduction there. Just a little sloppy on that, but look at that smile. She's happy she made that very difficult exercise.
Very entertaining performer. There she is, look, 9.575. Alexandra Brockway continues an outstanding meet at the Parkettes. And this is Mackenzie Fector from Parkettes. 3 competitors in a row from the Parkettes in the youngest age division here.
I mentioned Robin and John Holman. Of course, Bill and Donna Strauss, the head coaches here, have been for many years. Solomon Khan also coaches here, and Fernando Guerrero. They have a huge coaching staff to accommodate these outstanding gymnasts. Oh, 2.5 twister. She went out of line, in fact, not quite on the diagonal. Had she been straight, she probably would have stayed in bounds. There's a good double back somersault.
Mackenzie, born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now lives in the Allentown area here.
Her teammates call her Mackie. She's a national elite level. She's new to this.
This is the Parkettes' home gym. It's where they do their training every day. And play host to this event every year.
Good, strong pike double back for the final tumbling pass.
Wow, great drama at the end of the routine by Mackenzie Fector.
Interesting selection of the order of her tumbling passes. This 2.5 twister, which is not really her strength, she opened up with that, and you can see she traveled to the side, which caused her to go out of bounds. Then she came back with a pretty solid tuck double somersault. Not a bad layout front fold to a tuck front, and then she finished with a pike double back somersault. It was one of the more difficult passes to finish with.
And good for a 9.35 score. And with that, we move on to the 4th and final rotation of the meet. It's the Parkettes Invitational from Allentown, Pennsylvania. We'll be back with more on CN8 Sports. Welcome back, Lou Tilly, Bart Connor, and while we were away warming up for her, watching the top of your screen here, Alicia Sacramone, you can barely see it, but as she warms up for the bars, Wow, what a tumble and fall. Came off the mat completely, Bart.
You know, it's interesting. Before the competition, her coach, Mihai Brescian, said she wasn't going to do the bars today. Maybe she's having such a good competition, she thought she'd try to do a bar routine to get a good, solid, all-around score. But hopefully she's okay, and she seems to be standing over there on the sidelines getting ready. So we may see her try a bar routine here in a few minutes.
How about that? We kind of picked it up by accident as part of the warm-ups. Now back to the competition. And on the floor, one of the stars of the event, Marcia Newby from Excalibur, 16 years old, and this should be fun.
She's leading her age group, the 16-year-olds.
Powerful performer out of Norfolk, Virginia.
Last year, she scored a 9.625 at this event on the floor, third in the all-around. Boy, that was effortless for her. Full twisting, double back in the pike position, very high double twister. She normally could do a more complicated tumbling pass there, but
she too very tall as gymnasts go. Her father is a doctor, her mother a nurse practitioner.
Guess what she says she wants to be? A doctor.
A lawyer.
She says her favorite gymnast is Dominique Dawes. Of course, the great Olympian and winner of gold medal in the '96 games with that magnificent 17. This is Marcia's third year on the U.S. team. Oh, just a little under-rotated on a triple twist. She won a gold medal with the U.S. team at the Pan American Games in 2003. Clean pike double at the end.
Marcia Newby, 16-year-old, Norfolk, Virginia, performing with the Excalibur Club. Let's look back at the start for Marcia.
Her coaches are Jim and Dina Walker there at Excalibur. Here's the full in pike, and you can see she just stepped out of bounds.
And again, out of line.
Going out, right? Had she been in line, she probably would have stayed in bounds.
Saved it.
This is the triple twist, which was the other shaky landing. Her upper body made it all the way around, but her lower body didn't finish the twist, ironically. Very nice double pike at the end. Power to spare.
But a disappointing score of 9.30, I would guess, for Marcia Newby. Now, we're very fortunate here at Parkette's to have Alicia Sacramone with us, and she's doing all of it. Looks like she's going to compete in all 4 disciplines, Bart.
Yeah, we didn't expect this, and of course she crashed badly in the warm-up. And let's take a look at what she can do in competition. Oh, beautiful form. Full over to a Ginger. Combination of a pirouetting skill to a release move. Oh, look at that transition. Right to a handstand. This is one talented young lady. Let's see if she can handle this dismount. Remember, she peeled off in the warm-up. Nice double layout.
And you can see why. She really comes flying off of that thing. She went flat on her face in the warm-up if you missed it. She's one of those athletes you can't put a finger on a, Bart, but has it.
She does. There's a personality there. There's an explosiveness. There's an aggressiveness that is really fantastic. Now, she just under-rotated a little bit, but much better than what happened in the warm-up.
Yeah, at least she doesn't have skid marks on her face this time. Here are the final grades. 9.675 for Alicia Sacramone. And on her first vault, Davie Wilson in the youngest age group here for the Parkettes.
Some Donna Strauss standing at the end of the runway there. Her coach. Oh, that was actually well done. She just under-rotated it, but I like the technique. I've seen a lot of these today. Yurchenko with a full twist. Not bad mechanically. She had to pike down because she was under-rotated. Hopefully she'll try to correct that in her second attempt.
Coach can take a moment to give her some advice?
Yeah, you have to wait till the judge gets your first score ready, and then they raise the flag to give you a signal to go. So normally the gymnasts have just about a minute between the first and second vault, maybe a little less. See if she gets a little better rotation on this one. There you go, much better. John Holman is coaching her there, saying, great job. She really did make the correction from the first vault to the second one, and that's what you like to see in an athlete.
Tavi Wilson, 9.225 on the vault.
Leader balance team, Bing Yazell.
In the center ring now, Sherry Yang on the balance beam.
Leader on floor exercise among 11 to 13-year-old, Bing Yazell, a breasting, 9.5.
She's 15 years old. We've seen her in 2 of the 4 exercises. We're in the 4th rotation now.
She has very pretty leaps, full extension. The judges are looking for that 180-degree split. Oh. That fall costs a half a point. She has great flexibility and allows for her movement to be very fluid. And anytime you do a jump sequence like that, you fulfill the requirement of that dance combination. Back handspring to the layout, actually really good technique. She just was just a little off to the left. That's a difficult thing to correct in midair. The dismount is a simple gainer, pike back somersault.
Sherry Yang's score on the balance beam, 8.5. 14-year-old Amber Trainee at her last event of the evening, in 3rd place overall in her age group.
Last night they had trials to see who could make the elite levels, and she qualified in the Junior International Elite Squad, so she's on track to be a national team member. Ooh, full in pike, out of bounds. That's a nice move. It's a laid out front somersault with a double twist.
Part of the women's and the men's events on the floor becoming more and more similar?
Well, of course, the women use music, the men don't. Tumbling skill level is about the same.
Yeah.
Most of the top women gymnasts can do the same skill level that the men can do. Double layouts. And
yeah, that's interesting.
That was an unlucky ending. You see she has her ankle wrapped. A lot of these gymnasts, it's early in the season. This full in pike was just a little over-rotated. Whip, whip.
Some special presentations, so please do stick around.
To a 2.5 twister, right on the line, but she didn't go out of bounds. This is the pike double back somersault. Now, after 90 seconds of an all-out sprint, this is something you just have to build your endurance up to be able to make at the end of the routine.
I just can't believe it sometimes when you look at the ages of these competitors. And here's a great example. It's kind of stealing the show. Minya Zhao on bars.
So far, she's shown a very high level of difficulty on every event. That release move called a ginger was a little sloppy, but there's a big transition for a tiny young lady from the high bar to the low bar and back. It just require 2 transitions at this level of competition. All right, not bad.
And the expression on her face and her coach kind of reflects your opinion.
She's great. I really like her. You know, as I said earlier, bars is the event that often develops last on these really young gymnasts, and so
8.95 for Minya Zhao. Our first look at this young athlete in the 15-year-old age category from Prestige Club, Crystal Kunzler.
All right, not bad. Prestige is in Lancaster, PA. Jen Fata is her coach there. A little bit wide arm position as she went onto the vault table, which doesn't allow for the best mechanical push off the vault table. There's Jen at the end of the runway giving her some suggestions. Let's see if she can get her hands a little closer this time and get a more effective push off the vault table. You need the push for both the height and the rotation. And you got to time it just right. This is tricky when you go backwards over the horse. That's a little bit better. Oh, she was unlucky on the landing because that was a better vault. It looks like she just needs to spend a little more time refining her technique there.
Crystal Kunzler on the vault, 9.225.
Of Capital Gymnastics with a 20.
Here's 14-year-old Brittany Ramsey, who has raised some eyebrows with her performance already. This on the bars.
She starts on the low bar. That transition is used by several of the gymnasts, invented by a former Soviet gymnast named Shaposhnikova. All right, there's a full over to a reverse hack. Nice combination. She bends her arms a little bit in those giant swings.
Oh. Nice landing.
A simple tuck double somersault for her, so not the highest level of difficulty in the dismount, but this full over to the reverse hack was good combination, and when you put those 2 moves back to back, you earn bonus points. And a nice clean tuck double somersault. I'm sure in the future she'll do a layout or even add a twist there.
Judges see it like this, 9.4 for Brittany Ramsey on the bars. It's the Parkette's Invitational from Allentown, Pennsylvania. We'll be back with more on
Monday on C.
Back with the Parkettes, the competitors as young as 11 and ranging in age up to 18. Parkette Invitational, rotation 4, and real solid meat working for the next competitor, Alexandra Brockway from the Parkettes. Now on the floor exercise.
You hear her teammates yelling, "Go, Al." Here she goes, her first tumbling pass. Double front.
Whoa.
Nice. That's a very difficult move to land.
I thought she was going to land in Bethlehem the way she took off.
2 times she competed at the U.S. Championships. She's had some national experience. Triple twist out of bounds, unfortunately. Oh, but watch this dance and presentation execution. Beautiful. interesting. Some young ladies really take to the dance and choreography. For others, it just very
painful to watch.
challenging. Yes, but she really has it all. Beautiful layout front fold, pike front. Beautiful extension. Oh yeah, this is great.
And with a smile that jumps out at you as well, to the applause of her teammates and many of her friends here on her home floor. Look at this start for Alexandra Brockway.
This is tough. It's a double front. Just punch, double front. You know, she has to pull her legs apart there to increase the rotation a little bit. That allows you to flip a little faster and also spot the floor. This triple twist was laid back a little bit, so unfortunately that took her out of bounds. Her dance was exquisite throughout the exercise. This front full, pike front, good combination. Not the best twisting technique. She could use a little work there. I'm sure her coach, John Holman, will try to correct that, but nice presentation.
She's had an excellent meet. Ricky Lebegern for the Capital Club, 17 years and older category on the balance beam.
We saw her score a 9.7 on the floor. Fantastic performance. Beautiful flip-flop layout.
Seems like the floor exercise compares most with the beam.
It's true, and generally you have athletes that are sort of tumblers and vaulters and athletes who are bar swingers. And in women's gymnastics, 3 of the events are basically leg events, the floor vault and the beam. And the uneven bars is, of course, primarily an upper body event. Oh, nice.
Oh,
side somersault. That's a blind landing.
Yeah, that's one thing that Shannon taught me, Shannon Miller, a couple of weeks ago, because you can't see the bar. You're not looking down. You have to trust the feet.
She's very precise. I like the fact that she's also aggressive. She doesn't hesitate as she goes into these difficult skills. Very quick. 2.5 twister, and look at that landing.
She likes it. That's usually a pretty good barometer. See if the judges do in a moment.
Very quick and sharp. That's impressive, and I think that also adds to her consistency.
Ricky Lebegern, 9.275 on the beam. And you heard it, Casey Overton. This is her last performance, her last competition, 4th round, final round, 4th rotation, now on the floor exercise.
2.5 punch front, good combination. She, of course, competes for Excalibur Gymnastics. Some of their former greats, Dana Folletti and Alexis Brion. I saw them last week in Alabama. They compete for the University of Alabama. There were 10,000 excited fans to watch a dual meet between Alabama and LSU. And Nikki Butler, one of their other former gymnasts, competed for LSU. So several of their athletes have made it into the collegiate ranks. The rules in NCAA collegiate gymnastics, similar to the rules in junior Olympic gymnastics, not quite as difficult as the Olympic level. That's why we're seeing scores a little bit higher here today than we saw last summer.
Casey Overton's last 2 tumbling passes.
Very clean double twist. Layout front full. Well done.
And her score, 9.6 for Casey Overton on the floor. Corey Hartung, and kind of an elegant athlete, now taking her turn on the uneven parallel bars.
She's a very complete gymnast. Good form, good mechanics, plenty of power.
The individual apparatus leaders among 17 and older after 3 rotations on vault.
Nice transition to the low bar and back to the high bar. Fulfilling those requirements. Good body line. Nice technique in the Giants. All right. She can do a more difficult dismount, but that was a smart way to play that routine.
Corey Hartung in contention in her age group.
She gets a hug there from Kelly Hill. Hill's Gymnastics in Gaithersburg. Not bad.
Her score, 9.3 for Corey Hartung.
9.4.
Julie Cotter's had a good meet. Now her last event of the competition. A 14-year-old from the Parkette's group, the powerhouse home team. Julie Cotter.
Like many of these young gymnasts, she began at 5.5 years of age. Favorite event actually is the vault. Full in pike, clean and effortless. She says her ultimate dream would be the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, China. To see those hyperextended knees on the landing.
Yep, you mentioned that earlier.
She did an Arabian double front and landed with locked legs. It looked like the left leg was locked, and maybe even the right slightly. I'm amazed she's still going.
Oh, looked like she favored the left leg there.
You know, many of these gymnasts have hyperextended legs just for the extension and the execution, and so it's always important to try to slightly flex your knees when you land those, especially those forward tumbling moves, because you can jam your knees or your lower back by misjudging those blind landings and flipping forward.
I would assume. There she is again.
Look at how much power she still has. Apparently she's been through this before. Perhaps she has slightly hyperextended her knees before, but she's not holding back at all. Beautiful pike double at the end.
Very nice by Julie Cotter.
This is the Arabian double front, and watch the left leg.
Oh
my goodness. Hopefully she's okay. I'm amazed she could continue.
Yeah, and had 2 more very difficult passes after that. You could see it buckle just a hair there.
Still.
Oh, look, there you go. Sure enough. Yes. She comes to the sideline, and yeah, we weren't wrong. 9.725, but that had to hurt. Boy, the greater part of her performance after she strained the knee. Sherry Geese from Wilmore Club in the 11 to 13 age category. Our first look at her on the beam this time. These are the youngest of our competitive groups here at the Parkettes this year.
This is the age group where it's likely the next Olympic team will come from. Most of these athletes, 2008, will be in that 15 turning 16 age range or older. That in many cases is the optimal age for world-class gymnasts, although 2 of the gymnasts on the recent Olympic team for the U.S., one was 25, one was 26.
Yeah. How old was Nadia in her last Olympics?
Her last Olympics, she was 19. All right, a simple layout, but I like her execution. Very pretty line throughout.
Let's take a look at Shelby one more time. and see what the judges thought of her performance on the balance beam. The score's 9.175. It comes out for Shelby on the balance beam. Geraldine Stack-Eaton, one of the stars of this meet. Her final exercise of the event. 15-year-old on the floor exercise.
She says she likes all 4 events equally. Doesn't have a particular favorite. She's homeschooled. Many of these top national and international competitors are homeschooled. Most of them work out 6-7 hours a day. So for a handful of athletes, homeschooling is the right option. Not for many. Oh, what a... Doesn't have a particular favorite. She's homeschooled. Many of these top national and international competitors are homeschooled. Most of them work out 6-7 hours a day. So for a handful of athletes, homeschooling is the right option. Not for many. Oh, what a beautiful high full in pike. I love the technique on that.
Very nice.
Good stuff.
Appropriate last performer of the meet has the stage to herself, Bart, in front of the entire crowd, all the young competitors right now. Oh boy.
Nice.
Beautiful series. She performs to all that jazz.
Music selection, of course, is part of the entire composition. You know, if you can really get a catchy song that pulls the audience into your performance, it...
Just beautiful lines to her dance moves.
One of the good things about a catchy tune is everybody's into it, and they help you with this last tumbling pass. When you're tired, you have a lot of people cheering for you. Oh, what a beautiful takeoff. She is a magical tumbler.
Listen to the crowd. Geraldine Stack-Eaton. Lou, who loves Mary Lou Retton. All the Parkette's gymnasts gather. Look back.
Take a look at this pass. That's the Arabian double front somersault. She's one of the quickest athletes in terms of her takeoff position. From the back handspring, she stands up so quickly into her first tumbling pass at full in pike.
And one last look, focus, last run.
Watch how quickly she stands up right there, which allows her to pull that around easily. That's great stuff.
Just lovely. What a marvelous way to end another Parkette's Invitational. Perhaps the star performer playing to the entire crowd. When we come back, we'll find out how she did on her last exercise of the evening, and we'll look at the winners and the top performers from Parkette's 2005. Bart Connor and I come right back. The Parkette's Invitational at the Parkette Training Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania. CN8 Sports happy to bring you another exciting meet tonight. Lou Tilley, along with Olympic medalist and great American champion Bart Connor, and you'll get a chance to talk to these young people about the Gymnastics Hall of Fame here tonight, and it really revitalizes you when you see the young athletes on the way back up.
Yeah, it's exciting, and you know, we're in this beginning of this new Olympic cycle and a whole new generation of kids trying to make names for themselves, and who knows, maybe someday they'll be members of the Gymnastics Hall of Fame as well. So yeah, it's been a great night, and we saw a lot of quality gymnastics even though it's early in the season.
Great athleticism on display. Here's how it played out in the various age categories that we covered for you here on CN8, beginning with the youngest, and we saw her at Brechten's also, and she's a comer, Mingyao Zhao, with a tremendous meet here. Davy Wilson of Parkette's finishing in second place. This is of the youngest age group, between 11 and 13. For the 14-year-olds, Brittany Ramsey. And the Parkette's, another strong finish in third and fourth place. And this was interesting. In 15, we featured her during the broadcast, Bart.
Geraldine Stack-Eaton, what a fantastic story. She was out of gymnastics. She lost her father a little more than a year ago, and boy, she has come back strong. She won by nearly 3 points over Sherry Yang from Capital, and
a sweep. She won every individual category, as you can tell.
Great day for Geraldine, or they call her Lou.
Lou, after Mary Lou Retton, of course, and in the 17-plus category, a good local story here. 16-year-old group, I should put it. Alexandra Brockway had a great meet and one little slip on the bars, and she would have won it outright, but it was a tie.
Casey Overton also looked very strong here. I'm impressed with her overall polish as a gymnast.
Marcia Newby also in 3rd place there, as we expected. And here's one of the stars of the meet, Alicia Sacramone.
Boy, you know, she said before the meet she wasn't going to do the all-around. She was only going to do 3 events. And as the meet went on, she thought, why don't I go for the all-around? So she decided at the last minute. She nearly killed herself on the uneven bars when she slipped off in the warm-up. And then to come through with a win is a great start to the season for Alicia. I expect great things for her.
Alicia Sacramone finishing on top. Bart Connor, it was good to see you again. And we're so pleased to have you back. Yeah, good to be with you, Nadia. Here in Allentown. Give my best to your wife as always. And continued success with your school in Norman, Oklahoma.
Thank you very much.
And of course, people can find you online at?
Well, it's called BartConnorGymnastics.com. And as I mentioned in the show, you know, this event does benefit the International Gymnastics Hall of Fame. And if people have some interest in the International Hall of Fame and some stories about some of the great legends of the sport like Nadia and Mary Lou Retton and Olga Corbett
and Bart Connor
and even me, well, they can go to ighof.com and learn a little bit more about the former legends of the sport.
Very nice. Good information, and bringing a real touch of class for Bart Connor. I'm Lou Tilley. We thank you once again for joining us here on CN8 Sports tonight from Allentown, Pennsylvania. The 31st annual Parkette's Invitational from the home floor of the Parkette Gymnastics Club in Allentown, Pennsylvania. CN8 Sports has been pleased to bring you this special telecast now for Bart Connor and all of us here. Good night, everyone.